That Don't Sound Right is a podcast about talking the way we did before the internet.
When you could not prove anyone right or wrong, all the expertise was contained in the people involved in the conversation.
We hope you enjoy our conversations. And as you listen, if you find yourself silently saying, "That don't sound right," send us a comment. You're one of us.
Forrest, I knew this. I had seen this. I knew it in my very bones. My genetics knew it. And you said old growth forest, and I just said, yep, John. I was like, that makes sense.
Welcome back to another episode of That Don't Sound Right, a podcast about talking. We're your co-hosts, Peter Beilman.
I'm Cecil Davis.
And we're just trying to have a conversation without Google or fact-checking. Those things can so easily kill the conversation.
I tried to kill a couple of conversations. I had a weekend with the family, my extended family, and lots of questions came up. Always tempted to Google, but in most cases we did not.
Did they call you out on it?
Oh, everybody calls me out.
Oh, that is awesome.
I can't Google anything.
That is the best.
It is like the worst thing. I did have something great happen to me, though, regarding the podcast, and that is listener number one quoted our podcast back to me.
What? Hey, speaking of listener number one, Scott Grider, he's in the studio. Welcome back to the show.
Oh, back again. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
It's funny how podcast time works, but
well,
he spent a whole week. Did you enjoy the Raw?
It was great.
He's putting in some OT with us right now. But
I don't even remember what I quoted.
What was the quote?
We were talking about something, and you realized that you were quoting the song.
Oh, that's right. That was this week. Yeah, you're right.
So you said this must be the great moment for you that you get in your own show.
I was actually
quoted back to you.
It was actually, I was getting ready to tell him something I'd heard somewhere. I thought,
wait. It was actually a theory of yours.
It was.
It was a theory of yours. It'll come to me in a minute.
It was one of your nuggets of wisdom.
Yes. And I said, I think really Peter said that. I can't remember what it was.
It'll come to us, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Do you realize what that means?
We're famous?
Well, no. We've just been objectified. We're just we're just a voice on the radio.
Somebody out there is going,
we're just this anonymous noise that's
after last
breaking
week,
through.
People are like quoting last week's episode about bee facts left and right, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
All week, people have been like, hey, you know what? They heard this about bees.
The Forsyth County Beekeeper Steering Committee is trying to decide if I get to stay or not.
Oh, yeah.
Afterwards.
I would highly encourge you to go to a beekeeper.
I will go. Would you invite me?
I would love to invite you.
Would you like me? I would like to get
It's worth it for the dinner. But the guy, like I said, the guy who spoke the week I was there was fascinating.
Why did you go?
Why did I go? It was to hang out with the listener number one. But two, I just for the experience. I mean, number one, I think one of the most underestimated things around period is the ag group.
Yeah.
Because they have like a pawpaw festival.
Oh, yeah.
That they were talking about. They have an entire pawpaw grove.
Yeah.
Where is this grove?
I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, but they have like during the fall, it's already happened.
Yeah.
And then they had like a honey festival after that.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like a big, and so there's
a lot of stuff in the state. Yeah. And also there's the mushroom guys meet the same place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a mushroom group.
Yeah.
I've been to one of those.
Oh, I need to go to one.
And that is interesting in a different way.
Yeah. So one other thing, agricultural extension.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's just a fascinating place. There's a lot of stuff going on that people just don't realize.
Oh, this is the Agricultural Extension Agency off of Fairchild Road?
Yeah,
near the airport?
Yeah.
I've been there for a talk on turkeys.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
We were turkey hunting. I'm sure.
Turkey hunting, yes.
Right. But so they are
they're great.
Constantly doing stuff. And there was a girl that used to go to our church that was with the agricultural extension. She moved up down.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So they were always like out in the fields and experimenting with stuff. It's fascinating stuff. That's why I went, just for the fun of it.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I like to go one time because the more we've talked about bees, the more I'm fascinated about bees. And I feel like I have a great backyard for bees. Have you seen my backyard?
Oh, I'm sorry. I know this isn't the bee podcast, but I just thought of something.
What's that about bees?
I've got a story, about bees, about roadside finds, and bulky out and pickup all rolled into one today.
Well, this is our mailbag.
This will be the opportunity.
This is our mailbag episode. And I would love, part of the mailbag episode is you've been very
I've got a lot of time on my hands.
prolific. You're an excellent writer. We've gotten several emails from you about some of the past episodes.
Okay.
It's been about 20 weeks since we last had a mailbag.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been about 20 weeks, about 5 months time
So
frame.
you got what, 3 or 4 letters?
And the mailbag is full.
Okay.
All right, the mailbag is full. I would hopefully like to give everyone some nods. So let's start though with first our barista, Camille. She wrote in and she was listening way back into episode 82, missed it by a mile, and she said she loved it. And she would also want to talk about one time about how goats are supposedly the first to discover coffee. Have you heard of this?
No.
We might have to look into this.
That sounds like
We might have to deploy the TDSR staff, and that goats were the first to discover coffee. Have you heard this? Well, we're gonna have you know where Camille lives, Cecil?
I do.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe you can look her up.
I've been trying to talk my wife into letting me get a goat for years. Maybe the idea that they might discover coffee on our property.
Oh, there you go.
Possibility.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
That coffee well.
Coffee well.
I was going to say a coffee mine, but either way, there's something underground. Just watch out for
It's like a truffle pig. It'll be a coffee goat.
Just watch out for the yellow jacket.
Yes.
So one of our listeners, Bill, he really liked the episode called Support Squad. That was episode 146.
Yes.
And he did point out some of your Southern drawl.
Really?
Yeah, that the word bench is really close to another word that might have been needed to be censored.
Sitting on the bench.
There it is.
I've never noticed. I think I had a
Well, we just have to bleep that out.
This is a family show.
Do I have an accent?
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
Do I really?
just a
Yeah.
bleep.
Huh.
It's one of those Central North Carolina accents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't notice.
No.
I did have a roommate from New York, and when his family would come down and visit, they would make me say certain words until I would get up and go to the library. What else you got in the mailbag?
So Brad, he also writes quite a bit.
Yeah.
He tuned into episode 47, Hip to be Square. Do you remember this one,
This is
Cecil?
oldie.
Yeah, do you remember this one?
Hip to be
Hip
square.
to be Square.
I don't remember that one.
This
I mean,
is
I
about-
remember the title,
Yeah, go
but I don't remember
back.
what it was about.
Go reach back.
Yeah.
Square.
The
I haven't a square to spare.
about the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think as a
It could
paper,
be 46, was it?
no, it's 146.
146. Got it.
I think we need to go ahead and say right now before who's broke this piece? Who's that wrote in? Bill? Brad.
Oh, Brad did. Brad.
Okay. What did Brad say?
He said, "I'll buy Peter's theory for wavy cut toilet paper.
There you go. You got to win, Peter.
I got to win." And I think I have another win.
Not only is list number one an expert in bees, but you also are in the paper industry. Talk to us a little about that.
I'm in the
And you
printing
had some
packaging
things to say
industry,
there.
and I do have some things to say. And my first thought when I saw the advertisement for the wavy cut toilet paper was how silly. And then I thought about the fact that in paper has a grain. Paper is made of pulp wood fibers, very small, little. They're directional, and they line themselves up in the direction that the paper runs through the paper making machine, which also incidentally is the same direction it comes off a roll of toilet paper.
Yeah.
So the fibers are aligned in the same direction as the toilet paper comes off, and that's what you would call the grain of the paper.
Right.
So you get easier tears if tearing with the grain.
Correct.
When you tear across the grain, it tends to go wonky.
And that's where you got to cut.
Yeah. So
To get a good square.
yeah. So there's another. So the perf with the curves enables you to go diagonal to the grain instead of straight.
Oh,
across the grain.
so you're a little while going.
Yeah, sort of with it, and you turn the other way.
Ah.
So I thought that's it. And the other, you did have some points. The perfing is what those little holes.
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
And it is tricky. You want a perf that's not so strong that it tears the toilet paper where you don't want it to tear, or any kind of paper, but you want it weak enough that it tears on the perf.
Okay.
And then some of this toilet paper showed up at our house.
Some of the wavy toilet paper?
Yeah.
Wavy toilet paper.
It did. It showed up.
It showed up.
Well, somebody bought it.
Okay.
So
You're sitting there.
I'm sitting there, and you look over, and so I started doing.
Did you think about Cecil or my face?
It was both, and it was like, okay, I'm doing some research for TDSR. Let's document what happens. It tears very smoothly,
Does it?
and I did not think about it until we worked through that, and we went back to the pedestrian straight perf.
Yeah, right.
And it doesn't tear as nice.
Is that right?
Now, this isn't the category of things you didn't know you needed until marketing people told you did.
Interesting.
But yeah, so now I recognize that I'm mostly dealing with subpar toilet paper.
You're pro curve or pro wavy?
Are you pro wavy?
No, I'm not pro anything. I don't care. As long as there's some there. I just recognize that
You are pro paper.
I'm pro paper.
Well, now we did have somebody write into the super secret line. Jordan wrote in.
Yes.
And we have missed several things on the process.
Yes.
And as you read this will lead into what I want to say about this episode.
All right. So if you don't know Jordan, maybe I can do a little pitch, but he works for a company and they make industrial fans that sit in the ceiling of these big dust producing factories and keep the dust from settling. Because if the dust settles and a spark is created, this dust will ignite, even explode and blow the roof off. And so they keep this dust moving.
Yeah.
And it keeps it down into the filtration system. So
which is an episode in itself.
I think so.
It is.
He's been around a paper mill.
The potential sponsor of the podcast.
maybe we should try that. I think right now he's either throwing his phone out the window or he is saying that don't sound.
I hope he doesn't start firing employees related to staff members.
That's true. You might
I have some interest.
You might have a connection to the company. So Jordan writes in the Super Secret text hotline. So they typically bring in truckloads of pulpwood, generally pine, definitely use regrowth, small timber, and they use a pretty significant amount of recycled paper. So I was under the impression that in order to make toilet paper, you really had to use virgin or old growth forest. Okay.
Which leads to my comment.
All right.
Are you finished with Jordan?
So I'm happy to hear that we're not killing the rainforest by using. I was told by somebody who installed bidets in their house.
Okay, wow.
You listened to part of a podcast.
Yeah, they probably read part of an article.
A headline on an article Go ahead.
So anyway, so the parent paper rolls right off the paper machine, and they're typically about 5 to 6 feet in diameter. So there's these 5 to 6
and wide too.
They're 10 to 15 feet wide. All right. Then they go to what's this process called converting. In converting, they spin the parent roll down to a smaller consumer-sized diameter rolls. So they're basically going from this big thing down to the what I guess what's that, about an 8-inch diameter. I guess if you're in the mega, it's probably a 9-inch. But probably generally
super 5 or 6,
5 to 6, right? And then the still a full length roll. So these are 10 to 15 foot long rolls of the right diameter rolls of toilet paper. That's what they cut. They cut those, and they cut those to the correct length. He says this happens insanely fast. Then they glue what's called the tail of the roll to the cardboard tube, roll that bad boy on there. And so he says, my best guess on the reason for the wave cut is that it prevents tearing during converting. So that's when they're going from the big 6-foot diameter roll down to the 5 to 7-inch diameter rolls. That's converting. And he thinks the waviness actually helps prevent tearing because it is a big deal when it tears.
Yes,
it creates a lot of downtime. They got to reset what they call the web. And he says and he got all this information without Googling. It comes from firsthand.
Yeah.
Right.
So Jordan's he's using the right language in a lot of ways.
He's spot on.
Yeah, he's absolutely correct.
So let's go back to what you're talking about.
Right.
Old growth forest.
Right. So
old growth forest for toilet paper.
what happened in this episode is what I'm going to name the Beilman Effect. Because I just need for you to know that my grandfather had a huge tree farm, North Carolina tree farm that grew pulpwood.
Okay.
My father-in-law is a forester who worked for a pulp mill.
All right.
I have been in a pulp mill.
Okay.
I knew full well that toilet paper was made from regrowth forest. I knew this. I had seen this. I knew it in my very bones. My genetics knew it. And you said old growth forest, and I just said, yep, John. I was like, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. And yeah, of course they're cutting down old growth forest.
Yeah, big redwoods just to make
redwoods.
It's gone. We're done.
Peter said,
Everybody's
you
got a bidet.
said it with just enough authority that I was like, yep, that makes sense. I think Peter's right. Even though for generations of my ancestors were saying, no, I was saying, no, that's right. That's it. Old growth forest toilet paper.
Oh, that is just too funny.
Yeah.
Well, that tells you the power of the word.
Oh,
my God.
What else is in the
Oh, I've got a long list. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going to let's go to episode 150, Ice Cream Dreams. Brad writes in again. When I was a kid in the summer months, making ice cream on Sunday afternoon was an horror. If my parents or grandparents didn't make ice cream on Sundays, something was wrong. We made all kinds and experiment with various flavors, but there was one recipe that was a favorite. So we're sending this to Michael Neve, who was on the show with us, who makes his own ice cream. This is an orange sherbet recipe.
Oh, cool.
An orange sherbet. Let's try it. It's 2 liters of sun-kissed orange soda, 1 can of crushed pineapple, drain the juice, 1 can of Eagle brand milk, fill the rest of the container with milk. So,
there you go. Michael, get the churn.
Michael, let's try this. Let's try this real soon. So let's talk about episode 154, Saddle Up.
Yes.
All right. So we got actually several emails about this one. One of them was from a coworker, and he says this, Pete, you may be half wrong on the reason for elevated stands.
Oh, really?
Yes. At least at one time, it was required to be 10 to 12 feet up east of Raleigh.
I can believe that.
That's what you were saying.
That's what I was saying.
You were saying that that's one of the reasons why we were up high is it was the law.
Yeah.
At one time, east of Raleigh, it was the law.
Yeah. Why?
So you can still hold a rifle and you're shooting down.
Oh, got it.
And the bullet,
You said that here in the show. Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Fair enough.
Some other fun facts that Kelly pointed out is bait is for fish. And then the other thing is dog hunters spend half the day hunting deer, the other half hunting the dogs.
Yes.
Because
I
I can't find the dog.
There is a whole ritual to finding dogs.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Hey, so we have a new listener who wrote in for the first time.
Yes.
We want to welcome Josh.
Hey, Josh.
To the TDSR community. Thanks for writing us. I do want to call your email out because you responded to this deer hunting episode. You mentioned that we missed this type of stand.
What was it?
We didn't miss it. His dad hunted almost exclusively with a compound bow. Saddles for hunting didn't exist back then. And with the long bows of that era, climbing stands would be constrictive. He would take a drill into the woods and drill a series of holes into the tree. He would place nails into those holes as makeshift steps. After he got about 10 feet or so, he would place screws in the steps up to the height he wanted to hunt from. At his chosen height, he would strap on a pedestal with a seat and a footrest. Those stands didn't have any kind of railing, and they were completely exposed, and all you had was your back to the tree.
That is a stand that will not be hunting on. That's a real man stand.
That is a real man stand. That's before the self-climbing stand.
Yeah.
That's the self-drilling,
Yeah.
climb up some nails stand, and hope and hold.
I'm just thinking about how many of those nails I'll catch as I fall out.
Yeah. No, that's when real men were hunting. That's not what I'm doing.
Josh, thanks for writing that in. That is kind of an amazing stand.
That is amazing.
I will have to. I'll have to look up some pictures.
My hat's off to that one. All right.
Okay. So here's kind of wrapping it up. Episode 158. We talk about senses. Brad disagrees. In fact, he says that the sense of balance or direction is really a conglomerate of the basic 5 senses, all working together. For those who have lost one of the basic 5, the other 4 senses increase to help make up for the loss. So he would say that is really all of the 5 senses make up and allow you to have a sense of balance. Now, Joel, so your friend Joel, did he send something in on the super secret?
He was on the Secret Service
All right.
secret text line.
One of the things we were trying to figure out is what's the definition of a sense? And I think he made a pretty good remark. He said, sense is a response to an external stimulus.
He's a smart guy.
So I can see tasting, an external, something hitting your tongue, stimulating it.
Right.
Seeing, light patterns, smell, hear, touch. But I would still say the sense of direction is responding to our sense of gravity. That the gravity is the external stimulus that helps us with a sense of balance. Because I'm not sure, and Brad actually pointed this out in his email, he's not sure, I'm not sure that if you're in zero gravity, you can really sense balance. Because what are you trying, you're not going to fall down because you don't sense yourself falling because gravity's not pulling you down.
Right.
So I'm still.
No, I think
listener number one. Do we have a consensus here?
Was it Joel?
Joel
made a good point. I thought I was going to take his side, and then I think they're going to take Peter's side.
Well, I think Joel's right.
I think it follows Joel.
I think Joel.
I'm just saying, be aware of the Beilman effect.
Oh yeah. No, I disagree. I'm sure, in the clear light of day, I will disagree with.
I'm telling you, when you're in a virgin stand of wood, a forest,
yes,
you have a more acute sense of balance than anywhere else. When there's old growth forest.
I think you're probably right. I got one more thing on the super secret line. So our haberdasher, David.
The TDSR haberdasher?
TDSR haberdasher.
Why am I still dressing so shabbily? I have a haberdasher on my staff.
Well, you have one that has for the haberdasher. The haberdasher says that we should do a show on people who do not use precise language. That was his comment. I'm working this up. I'll probably spring it on you at some point. I
love it.
Yeah, and so basically it's when people don't put commas in the right place. Today someone said...
written language.
Or spoken language, because someone said, you call me Cecil? And I was like, well, why would I call you Cecil?
Right. It's like saying, hey, say hi to Cecil.
Right. So do you want to bring us home with your bee roadside find and
this is trifecta. So,
but before you do that, I do want to mention Party Pete Stone.
Yeah,
he writes in often, and I went looking for this, but he said listening to the show this week, and he was talking about the submarine episode 160. He said, remind me of a show that ran a couple of years ago on National Geographic. It was called Rocket City Rednecks.
Yes.
Have you seen this?
Yeah, now I've referenced it.
They built a number of things, including a submarine.
I'll go
back and find it.
They built an Iron Man outfit, too.
Yes, I was looking for this.
I would like to have one of those.
I didn't see it.
Well, Rocket City Rednecks are rocket scientists
from Huntsville,
Alabama, and so they would have a project. It was kind of like this podcast a little bit,
a lot like
this podcast, except they were rocket scientists.
They did some really cool
stuff. They did some cool stuff. So, all right.
Well, no, it's a simple story, but I love the way it tied in at least 3 episodes or more that you've done, 3 concepts. So I got a text today from my brother-in-law, He said, hey, so first of all, in Louisville, where I live, it's bulky item pickup.
Woo!
And it's not like Winston where they give you 1 week per area. They do the whole town, and it sometimes takes 2 or 3 weeks to get to you. So he said, hey, there's some beekeeping stuff up on this particular street. I said, okay, yeah, I'll try to get by there. But
now that Cecil's been to this conference, this workshop.
I should have sent him.
I
I had a very busy day, so that was pretty early this morning.
All right.
And it was after 5 before I thought, oh, yeah, I need to go by and check it out.
All right.
I had terribly low expectations.
Right.
Because it's bulky item pickup.
Yeah, absolutely.
I go there, and clearly, right at the road, way apart from the garage, there is some new and slightly used beekeeping boxes. There's all kinds of equipment. There's somebody was like, I'm done with this. There was a box that had like a hive tool in it.
They were getting out of the business?
They were getting out of the business. They were done with the business.
Did you say the business?
Yes, he did.
Very nice. Very nice.
And I thought, this is just...
Did he learn that at your little...
No, he came up with that. He brought that to the table.
That's good stuff.
It was on the
I appreciate it.
Droned every time. He's used to it. Anyway, it was just this perfect roadside find, bulky item pickup, support the bee business.
Did you get it?
I got it all.
Did you really?
Every bit of it. And I did it fast because I was afraid somehow I'm misinterpreting.
Right.
We've had items taken out of our yard.
Yeah.
Oh,
the kids left a little too close to the
Right.
Also, you know better to,
I just didn't want it to. So I got it home and it's like, I said, my wife came home and said, look at this stuff I got. She said, oh, good. Maybe you can take some of the old stuff you have and put it down by our road. I said, no.
That's not the way it worked.
How it works.
So this is a beekeeping story. This is a roadside find story.
And bulky item pickup.
That's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
All right, well, it don't sound right, but you have, if you've hung in there, come to the end of this episode of That Don't Sound Right.
Hey, before we close, we want to thank everyone for listening and writing in. What some great emails we had today.
Yeah, that was good.
If this is your first time and enjoyed the conversation, consider hitting the subscribe button on the platform you listen with. Also, if you're a longtime listener, keep sending those emails, but also give us a rating, leave us a review so others can easily find us and join the conversation.
All right, That Don't Sound Right is a production of TDSR Podcast in conjunction with Camel City Studios. I'm your co-host and sound engineer, Cecil. Peter is your other host and your web designer. Camille is our barista. Emily does our graphic design. Ella does our Instagram. Giorgio tests our merchandise. Rick is our international brand ambassador. And as always, listener number one is
Scott.
So until next week, keep talking.
And stay curious.